A 13-year-old boy who suffered the most dangerous and challenging conditions in his life. Yeah, of course, he did save his family's lives. But, of course, what he didn't know is that within minutes, he might sink into the ocean bottom and nobody will ever know him, that he existed. So this boy is called Austin Appleby. This case happens a very short time ago. It's only in January 2026. This case is a very dangerous one and also a very sad one. When we think about it later, we might think, oh my gosh, how brave Austin Appleby truly was. So today, I'm going to review that case one by one and to share with you guys about how all these things has happened. So a very sad story. Let's step into our topic. What we have already know is this 13-year-old boy who saved his family is called Austin Appleby. This case happens on a very delightful day. On a very delightful day, Austin and his family, and of course 4 people, his mother, Joni, and then his little brother, who is 12 years old, is called Beau, and then 8 years old little sister, which also is the youngest, Grace. So the 4 of them together, they thought they were going to have a very perfect vacation near the shore. They want to explore something different and want to explore the sea. So if this kind of area they can go often, I think it can be a vacation place for them to go. So they bring the kayak, they bring 2 very flexible surfing board, what are surfing boards for the brothers and sisters and Joni and Austin together, the mother and the son. They stayed in the kayak and wear their life jackets, take all the things they need, some survival kits, some picnic foods for them to eat, and then they go on to their vacation. So they their boat very far away from shore, but not very far. So at the very beginning, the water was calm and everything was peaceful. However, within minutes, the strong wind blew, and this is what all the things had happened wrongly, and this is the things appears to be different. The wind began to blow harshly, and then just within minutes, the waves began to turn tough, and then just then, after this case, they knew this is the shore, and then they might think they boat their boat just a few miles away from the shore. However, when the wind blows and the tough waters and the waves just pounding harshly, and then it can lead them 14 kilometers away. 14 kilometers is in the very middle of the ocean, or very near, It's very far from the shore. If you stay in the ocean, you'll find you cannot find the shore if you stay in the middle. There are no directions, no even single a living soul, but only the 4 of them. Things began to getting different. So at that time, the wind blew and the kayak just flipped over, and then the 4 of them all falls into the water. And guess what? There's something they do in the water. They did many things. So I'm going to share with you guys. Austin and his mother, Joni, we have already know they sat out in a kayak. And when this kayak collapsed and then filled with water, Austin and his mom struggled to stay afloat. And meanwhile, Beau and Grace fought to keep their balance as the waves carried their paddleboards further from the beach. And with the younger children in danger, Joni made a tough decision. Her decision is to ask Austin to swim to shore on his own to get help. So because of Joni's, as for mother, at that point of the view, I have something to feel about. I'm going to share with you guys about that later. So she told Austin to go to the shore on his own and to call for help. So the most important thing, I think, in this whole case, the most important thing, they were on their life jackets, or otherwise not only Beau or Grace, but also Joni and also Austin, the 4 of them, they will all drown and die in the middle of the sea, and there won't be any heroistic thing at the very end of this story. So when we think about this, life jackets are very important, and at this point of the view, this life jacket has saved a family's life, of course. So this is the first point. Remember that. And the family gets swept out to sea just because of that wind and the waves. And what about Austin? When his mother told him to swim the whole way back to shore, he has already known it's a very long distance. It took him 4 hours to get to shore and to swim all the whole time. From the very middle of the ocean to the shore, it's a very quite long distance, and he swam 4 hours. 4 hours with no even a rest. And of course, he felt like if he's going to be late, and his mother and his brother and sisters might be die and drown in the water, so he took off his life jacket. So this means if he wears the life jacket on, it can, protect him, of course. He might not be drowned, even he's tired in the water, but he took off his life jacket just because he would want to speed himself up and to reach the shore as quick as possible. So this is very dangerous. 4 hours with no kind of rest. They went to the beach like 11 o'clock to 12 a.m. So at this period of time, it's very early and not in the afternoon time because they want to spend their whole evening there. However, when they get the rescue, it's 8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. this whole day. 4 hours of the time Austin swam this very long distance with no rest. Then when he finally reached the shore, he felt extremely exhausted. That exhaustion is like come not from the feet but also from the legs and also from the lungs, because he has to breathe very fast, and of course he has been swimming for 4 hours. It's not just more like running. So as for me, if I run for 1 kilometer, that will be, oh my gosh, a very tough one. So, or maybe we say we run the race, we run the marathon. We know it's a very long distance, but it's not in the water. You only have to run like a robot. However, if you stay in the water, you have to make yourself, fully wake up and of course pay full attention and use 4 hours to concentrate and cannot have even a tiny little single rest and to do all this work. So let's continue. Then when he get to the shore, he felt extremely exhausted, but he doesn't want anything to be delayed. So oh my gosh, 2 kilometers then. 2 kilometers he raced, very harshly, very quickly. He ran to his mother's phone and then to call for help. 6 kilometers with no rest. 6 kilometers. It's like 6 hours, mostly 6 hours or 7 hours. It's like the whole day he's been swimming and running with no rests. Oh my gosh. 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles. It's a very long way. I cannot stand it. This long time made him feel exhausted. However, Austin reached the shore and he ran and called for help. So there's something good for us to mention, is that when Joni waited her son to come back and to have some rescue to them, when it's more likely to be 7 p.m., his mother began to worry. Because of this very long time, she doesn't know whether his son has already fully come to the shore and called for help or just sank in the ocean and died. And she will never know because she can't do anything. There's still a boy and another girl, and one is 12 years old, one is 8 years old. These 2 siblings, they still have their mother, they still need their mother. So, oh my gosh, this is a very sad story, right? So finally, Austin called for help, and the rescue team used the helicopter and found and spotted Joni and this whole family. It's a very tough story, and it only happens in January the 13th. So, oh my gosh, it's a very sad story, and we can also see how brave Austin Appleby is and truly is, and the mother and the sibling drift offshore before the rescue. What they can do is to tell jokes and to sing songs and to cheer them up, because they have to lift their high spirits, or otherwise they cannot pay their full attention on their survival, and then they might die and drown in the water immediately, even they have the survival life jacket. So we might think, Austin can use his brain and use all his work, using 4 hours, within 2 hours, this whole time, within no rest. How did he do that? The first one, he must train himself well. He swims very well, before they went to the vacation, and that's the most possible thing, or otherwise he cannot, keep himself up for this whole time. And the second one is that he has his mind. He kept his mind, and he thought about the happy moments that he spent with his family members, and they have fun, all the jokes they have. And what the thing he only can say to himself is, not now, just not now, not now. It means he cannot die right now. So 13-year-old boy, think about these kind of things in the very immediate times. It truly means how brave and fearless Austin Appleby was. Austin was only 13 years old, but swam for 4 hours in cold, rough water to save his family. In China, we sometimes hear stories about kids helping in floods or accidents. Would you feel brave enough to do something like that for your family? Why or why not? So first, talk about swam for 4 hours in cold, rough water to save his family. It can be a challenge for him, and this is the challenging conditions. And think about feel brave enough to do something like that for your family. I think of 2 things. The first, if I have suffered this very dangerous stuff, if I am Austin, first, if my parents trust me to face this kind of dangerous job, I've got to do that, because if I don't try, there will be no chance. But if I try, there might be a tiny little chance. But maybe if I can catch that, maybe I can stay alive. So this recognition can maybe make myself and cheer me up to do these things because my parents trust me. And second is what we have already told you, is that if I have a chance, I'm going to catch that, and no matter what's the result, I will going to try my best to overcome the challenges. So I do think this is the most essential part whenever we face these challenges, no matter small or big, no matter large or maybe just a tiny little single thing, but we still have to pull our full attention on and to think about the ways that we can fix this, even it's in a very harsh condition. Austin's mom told him to swim to shore alone because the younger kids were in danger, Grace and Bio. So if you are in a scary situation with your family or friend, would you listen to an adult and go for help, or stay together? I have my own opinion, because I won't listen to an adult and go to help, but stay together. I've suffered this, so I get to know this all too well. Once, not very long time ago, when I was a 6th grader, my mom and my dad and my whole family with my grandparents together, we went to Suzhou. And then on our way back, we have a terrible car crash. And that's true, because at that time I wear my hairband. I love that very badly. I was looking out the window, and then I found out something was not right. I feel like the car was leaning against the left part of this road, and because it's on the high speed way, oh my god, it's on the highway, and I feel tempting, and I feel like, oh, if I was right or wrong, if we're going to crash or not. But I do positive thinking. We won't crash. Of course we won't crash. Maybe it's just some mind that flipped out of my mind. However, the next minute I know is that when I look out of the window, there's a boom. You know that boom? Our car, our tire has bombed. And because I wear my hairband, one of these pieces, kind of like hurt my head. Like in this position. Oh my gosh, I felt very bad. And I cried a lot because I'm scared. My hairband is like breaking to pieces and I don't know. And my seatbelt is just like broken entirely. And I lean forward to my mom because we sit in the back of the car. And then I feel so scared. And then I'm just like tempting and I'm frustrating and I don't know what can I do. And I'm just like crying and shouting at that moment. It's very tempting. Even by now I'm speaking to you guys, so I know that all too well. At that time together, because my grandma is very scared of this thing and of course I'm scared, my mom just hold my grandma and hold me together tightly and kind of like a triangle kind of fence, and then we stand inside of it and my mom used the phone to call for help. So at that time it's like very tempting. There's not the trains, there's the cars and like speeding very fast through us. It's like right past us. Oh my gosh, you can feel the wind, the strong wind, and it's very cold and very rough, and I have sick feeling and I'm just like crying, but we still cheer ourselves up. So we say, we can suffer this, think about the best moments, and then finally we wait for the help, even we suffered a lot. So as a result, my head is okay, but it's truly bleeding. But a very long time ago. It has already covered well. So don't mind about that, guys. So I suffered this car crash, this accident, so I won't listen to an adult to go for help. It's on the highway. How can I go? So on these kind of motorways, we're going to stay together and to suffer this together. And the most important thing is to use our intelligence and to use the phone to call, and then think about nothing else, just to focus on calling for help. Then stay calm and everything will be fine. So I suffered this, so I won't go for help and listen to an adult, but stay together with an adult. So many Chinese students watch TikTok videos, about several challenges or what if emergencies, like these kind of TikTok videos. After this story, do you think those videos make you more prepared for real danger or just fun to watch? Of course, more prepared for real challenges. How can we say just fun to watch? If we see others suffered the bad moments, we're going to laugh? What the heck? So I don't think it's a good thing. I think of two things. It can help me to be more prepared for real danger. The first thing is what to do. It's well prepared for the danger that come in a jiffy. We don't know if the accident will come in a very short time or just in a split second. Like my car crash, I don't know the next minute, within just the next split second, I'm going to get hurt on my head. So I don't know about that thing. So we have to be well prepared for the danger. And that also reminds me, I cannot look at the window very close. Stay very close to the window on the car. And I get to know that very well. And the second thing I think is to be mental prepared, but not only what to do, but also our mental prepare and our mind and also our physical one. The places we can go and not to go. Like if you stay in some dangerous conditions, you cannot go to somewhere, like you cannot stand in the middle of the road and to call for help, and then the cars sometimes, I don't mean mean, but sometimes these cars won't see you and maybe you will get hurt very badly. So I think we have to be mentally prepared and what to do. We have to get to know these two things and to be more prepared for these real dangers so that we can fully master and to be in good control of these difficult times. So in China, we have beaches and places like Hainan or Qingdao. After reading this, what safety rules would you tell your family before going to beach or swimming? Like checking the wind, wearing the life jackets, or not going far? I have my 4 opinions. The first one is the weather forecast. This must be the most important thing. Of course, you have to check the weather forecast first. If today is not a sunny day, and you have to check the most specific ones. The most specific weather forecast, or otherwise you might misunderstand. You don't know whether the wind or the waves will come. So we have to check this first. And the second is to wear the life jackets. This will be the most essential part of all the things. Sometimes I go to the park with my family. And I sometimes think these life jackets are very old and it makes me look very poor. And I don't like that kind of feeling. That feels sick. And I don't like that. And I just want to take that off, and it's pretty hot, especially in summer. Sometimes we go boating, but my mom told me to wear that on, even it's very smelly, very dirty, it makes you look old, but you still have to wear it, because if you face these dangerous times, you face these challenging conditions, it can save your life. So I didn't know that, and this might be the key point. In this case, Austin and his family, because they wear their life jackets, the mother and the brother and the sister will not be drowned by the water. Because they're very young, the kids cannot swim very well, not like Austin. Or even Austin cannot do that. So these life jackets has saved their lives, and that's the most essential part of all the things. The third thing is to check full security. In this case, Austin and his whole family, they didn't check. I can be sure they didn't check the full security. There must be no people around there. No crowded people, of course, because they go to that vacation place with no people, not even a single soul, but only the 4 of them. And they go there to want to explore something different and to try something new. This must be sure because they didn't check the full security. There's no security. Or otherwise, if Austin call for help or raise up the red flag or blow the whistle, others can hear, or maybe reflect the mirror. There's some of the ways that you can save yourself. There must not be full security around this whole ocean, or maybe the sea. So they didn't check that, so we must check the full security before we go to that place to have our vacation, or to go for work, or go to some places that we might face these dangerous things and conditions. And the last thing is to find the places with people around, like places in China, Qingdao or Hainan. These places, oh my gosh, people are crowded, and you even cannot sleep on the beach very quietly, or even swim in the ocean very, happily, because the people are too crowded. However, sometimes too crowded can be too bad, but maybe some people around that place. However, in this case, Austin's family around themselves, there are no people surrounded. So if they want to call for help, it can be a difficult challenge. And this cannot take an exciting turn for them to make everything right, but can lead them into a deeper trap, I can say. Because the ocean is like a deeper trap if you did not take the checking problems and also the security problems. So I think these 4 things are the most essential part of all the things. And by the way, there are 2 more things. The first, we have to bring enough food and water, especially water. If you want to drink, you can drink. And the second one is you must bring the survival kit and some other things that you might get hurt or injury that can help you to fix these small problems or big problems. And you also have to bring something very important, is the phone. These phones can take the water very well. If you stick to the water, it can still use properly and to take full prepared before they go to the beaches or swimming, like this case. So I do think this 4 things or maybe 6 things are very important in this whole challenge. Sorry, let me take my paper. So Austin said, "I didn't think I was a hero. I just did what I did." In your opinion, what makes someone a real hero? Is it big challenges like swimming far or small things like helping a classmate? In my opinion, it's just small things like helping a classmate, but not these big actions like swimming far. Why would I say that? Because like once in my class, there is a boy who always treated poorly to the other boy, and the other boy felt very sad and sorrow, and he had always been, punished and bullied by the boy. So the other boy felt sad and sorrow, and he cannot do anything. And once the boy took the other boy's seat, and then the other boy cannot find a place to sit down and to listen to the class properly. And then there's another boy, the boy C, we call it. The boy C just lent his own seat to the other boy for him to sit, but himself stand up, or just maybe to find the seat somewhere else. But he helped this other boy in that very immediate time. And that's pretty warm, and I saw this just a small thing, and I felt like he truly is a hero. Yeah, he did something. We did some small things like helping a classmate. No matter helping a classmate or helping a stranger in our life, just helping others and as the maximum that we can do to put our full attention and maybe to give our full help to others. And I think even small things, if you do that with your own heart, it can turn into a perfect thing. Austin ran 2 kilometers after swimming to call for help. And even though he was very tired, if your friend was in trouble at school, like hurt or lost, what would you do to get help quickly? Once one of my friends, she's like having a very bad mind in her brain, and she's like didn't feel very well because of her tummy. I don't know, maybe her tummy ache or maybe headache, I don't understand. And then she's like more likely to fall down in any second. And then I found out that very quickly, and I called for help to the teacher and the adults in my school, and then she's got the help immediately, and she found out she has a headache or something, and she's like having a very good rest, and after this whole thing had happened, she recovers well. So in this small thing in my life, and I get to know that we have to call for help to the adults. And if you stay in the school, you can call for help. You can call for help to the teachers, and they will help you at any time. This story went viral on news and maybe TikTok. Many people call Austin a hero. Do you think sharing hero stories online inspires kids to be brave, or sometimes make pressure to act big? So, in my opinion, I prefer to think of sharing hero stories online inspires kids to be brave, and plus, to face the challenge with calm. Austin faced this whole case, this whole 4 hours and 2 kilometers, this whole long run, 6 kilometers with run and swim. This whole challenge with calm, and think about the funny jokes and singing songs, and to think about the happy moments he spent with his family members, and also his life with his friends, or maybe something else. He find out he can make himself cheer him up and to make in high spirits so that he can pay full attention on what he has to do right now. Not to drown himself, but also to stay alive. So we have to face the challenge with calm, and these stories can inspire kids to be brave in their lives. So it's like when they face some small challenges or maybe some difficult challenges, they can stay calm and to find the way, how can I deal with these problems, just like what Austin did. And Austin can be a hero to them, and they can, they can learn from Austin about his heuristic things and how did he do these things, this rescue, and make this rescue possible. Online focused and happy thoughts to keep swimming is what we talk about. When you feel tired or scared, like during exams or sports, what happy thoughts or tricks do you use to keep going? First, let's think about these sports. I have 3 things to talk about. The first thing is the sports. Sometimes I will feel very tired while I'm running. At that time, I cannot move my legs because I'm fully exhausted and I'm sweating and I feel very hot. I cannot stand that burning hot, so I cannot stand that very well. However, at that time, sometimes I'm going on a race and the teacher is going to click the clock. So at that time, all my mind is thinking, after this long period of running time, I can have a good rest. So I can use my own mind to keep me moving. And then I'll keep running and to keep going while I'm doing my sports because of my mind. So I will think about happy thoughts and to think, what can I get after I've done these super difficult challenges? So the second thing is what we call the car crash, is my car crash. We have already talked about that. I think of the positive things and to stay with my mother and my grandmother. The third thing you might not know, in 2025, in August, my mom and I, we went to the United Kingdom. It's a very perfect trip. However, once we went to a hotel, that hotel is perfect, literally perfect. When I'm going to sleep, I just wake up after I wear my glasses and I'm just sleeping very well. And then I just want to open my eyes to see something because I'm so excited. Then I look up on the ceiling and I see something familiar. You know what is that? A black huge spot sticks on the ceiling. I don't know what is that, and I feel scared. Oh, maybe I just think I have some problems with my eyes, but then at the next time I found that spot has gone. That might be a bird, might be a spider, or might be something, a huge mosquito or something. All that I can think about is the insects, and I cried out and scared my mom. And then together, we finally find that is a huge moth. That moth is so huge that I'm so scared, especially in the darkness. And it's very late, so at that time, I just called, by myself. I called the staff and to change another hotel room. I feel brave and I feel calm. I stayed there calling for the staff to call me back and then told him all the things that we suffered, even this is a small tiny thing. And then we change our hotel room and then we have a very good night's sleep. It's a small thing, but in another country, even we can speak probably using English, but it's still scary. At that night, I feel excited. Even we experience that moth adventure. So I do think it's very perfect. And these 3 things that I'm focused on, happy thoughts and to stay calm, can make me keep going and use these tricks. Finally, we're going to talk about the rescuers said Austin's swim made the rescue possible. And if you could thank Austin, what would you say to him? In my opinion, I would truly thank him. I would say you're fearless, you're truly brave. You have done your best to save your family's lives, and you also stay calm, you feel brave, and your mind is clear, you keep on moving, fully respect. I will say these things to Austin if I can meet him. I do think he did a very brave thing. However, I surely think he might have some mental problems after this challenge he had suffered. A very serious mental health problem. Because of this 6 kilometers, no resting, exercising, I can say, suffering this whole challenge conditions, he must have the mental problems after this whole things. And he might feel very stressed, and he might never go to the sea again. And maybe whenever he saw these dangerous things on TikToks, he will feel scared and reminds his terrible memory. I do think it can influence him a lot, and I mean the bad impacts. So I don't think it's good for him, but he truly did a good job. But maybe next time we can just check everything is okay, then we will go. So how does this story make you think about protecting your own family or friends? I think of 2 things. The first thing, I'm just going to say protecting my own family because I don't have some of my own experience of protecting my friends. So protecting my own family, the first one, it's very important. The second, it's also necessary. You know why protecting family is necessary? Because to first make sure everything is under control and then to go. So what we say, yeah, it's truly necessary. Or otherwise, if we don't understand everything what is happening right now, then we go in just a jiffy because of our hurry and our rush, we might did some things wrong. So it's necessary to first make sure everything is okay, everything is under control, and then to do that job later. So we have already finished all our topics, all our questions, but still I want to add some more. When I heard of this news, I found out 2 strange things that seems not quite right. The first thing, Johnny, the mother, Bill, the brother, the younger brother, Grace, the sister, and Austin, the biggest brother. Oh my gosh, 4 people, there's no dad. Where's dad? So it's quite strange. I think of 2 things. Maybe she just getting divorced with her husband. Maybe this is one condition, and she takes good care of her daughters and sons for this whole time. Maybe this is one condition I think of. Or the second is that they told or haven't told her husband that they're going out. Maybe she has told him, but why from the very morning and then to 8:30 p.m. there's no response and no phone calls of asking, where have you been? Why haven't you come back home? Because it's very late, the sun is getting to set. Oh my gosh, it's a bit strange. I think of these 2 things very strange. Maybe just 2 conditions, but there's no answers. The second thing, this mother didn't do these full things right. Even she talked some funny jokes and to remind these happy thoughts with her daughters and sons, but this mother didn't do the full things right. She hadn't checked the weather forecast. She hadn't bring the survival kit. She hadn't used it. Oh god, my gosh. Sorry. And she even dared to let her beloved son to call for rescue. You know, maybe it's just the Western culture and our Chinese culture or something. There's some conflict between them. Our Chinese culture, we said that just to stay together when we face these difficulties, but not to go alone, or otherwise we might never see each other again. But in Western country, it's like we have to go and to try these challenges and to face these challenges. Oh, that is perfect, but sometimes it seems a little bit too much. Maybe because I'm a Chinese, maybe in my own opinion, I think of this seriously. I think it's a bit too risky. I just think it's a bit too risky. And this mother also didn't check the weather forecast, didn't bring the phones that can still use even it's touched by the water, or maybe just to bring a plastic bag to put the phone inside it. And she didn't check, she mustn't do all of these things. she has 3 daughters. She has one daughter and 2 sons, 3 children, and how can she doesn't know about that at the very beginning? So it can be a problem, it can be a question, and it can also be a mystery. And I think of this very clearly. There are some mistakes inside that sometimes it's personal and we cannot get to know about these mysteries inside. So maybe you guys, if you know some news about these kind of things, why there's no dad, why they didn't go to the holiday spending together with no dad, where is dad? And the second is, do you truly think that this mother didn't do the things quite right? I think of that very clearly, and I also did some survey, truly, and I think of that clearly. So that's all for this whole topic. It's a very sad story, a very tempting case. However, we still have to admit that Austin Appleby is truly a brave boy. He did everything he can do. This whole family have to thank him personally, because this little boy has saved this whole family's lives. So it's very massive, very impressive, and I'm fully respect. I also cried when the first time I've seen this passage, but now I can calmly say to you guys. So he is brave, and I'm fully respect and fully impressed of what he did. And next time it also tell us we have to get to know all the things and to make sure things is right. So it is truly necessary to make everything's right and fully under control. Then we can do these things perfectly and happily. So that's all for today. And if you have some other things, please tell me. See you next time. Bye bye.